Foley Field, home to the Georgia Bulldogs, who are hosting the Arkansas Razorbacks in the third game of this three-game series. Luke Bonfield was the story in game number one. His home run gave the Hogs a victory. But in game two, this guy, L.J. Talley, came up with the clutch hit for the Bulldogs. This is what it looked like. After a rain delay, they had to go 10 innings, bases loaded, and L.J. slaps one through the left side. That would give Georgia the walk-off win over the Hogs, and the Bulldogs would celebrate like they haven't done in quite some time here in Athens, GA. Two teams playing some great baseball. Now, as we wrap up the regular season, everybody getting set to head over to Hoover, Alabama for the SEC tournament. Top four seeds are set. Florida number one, but 2, 3, and 4 can be jumbled up. Arkansas, Ole Miss, and Georgia, depending on what happens here today. So still a little something to play for, but this has been a dynamic season for two outstanding baseball teams. Dave Neal alongside former Notre Dame player and college baseball coach Mike Rooney. And Runes, as we wrap up this regular season, put in perspective these two regular seasons for Arkansas and Georgia as they head and look toward the postseason.
Yeah, really interesting, Niels. Arkansas, exactly what we thought. Preseason top 5 team, dynamic offense. But Georgia, no idea this was coming. They won their last 3 SEC series last year, but this team has really grown up.
And they're actually talking about this team being good enough, possibly getting back to Omaha for the College World Series. They have had that kind of season, and look at the resume. They have played the same kind of caliber of teams, and they have done exceptionally well.
The metrics off the charts for both teams, Niels. RPI top 5, strength of schedule top 5, ton of RPI top 50 victories.
Well, the man who will have to try to maintain and control this Arkansas lineup that's been so good is Kevin Smith, the junior left-hander, 6'5", 233. Pitched well against Florida last weekend, but another dynamic lineup he'll face.
And this is a big fastball from the left side, up to 93 miles an hour. He will blow hitters away at times in this game. And he's their team MVP. Went from Friday night guy to willing reliever and now back in the rotation. His versatility has been critical.
Well, Dave Van Horn filled out his lineup card like this. Eric Cole with 12 bombs leads off, and then Casey Martin at 346. Boy, you love him in that too.
Yeah, I mean, think Dustin Pedroia, offensive second baseman, but electric athlete.
And that lineup just gets better and better. This Arkansas team tied for the top spot in the SEC in batting average. They are tied for the top spot in home runs. And the first pitch from Smith in there for a strike. And we are underway on an overcast, warm, humid afternoon here in the classic city of Athens. Eric Cole, the junior out of Southlake, Texas. 338. That one is just fouled by a few feet down the right field line. And Smith out in front, 0-2. Cole at the line, in the batter's box, the junior. 43 runs batted in. How about your leadoff guy with 12 tanks, 12 doubles, his 74 hits, his 5th in the conference.
Talent really coming out. He's a guy they've liked for years, and it has all come together this year in 2018.
That one just misses inside. Smith, an interesting case of a guy just kind of staying with it, was in the rotation at the start of this year, and really expectations were high for Kevin. It didn't go well, so kind of a risky move, but Coach Strickland sent him down to the bullpen, out number 1, and now he's been back in the rotation the last couple of weeks and has looked great.
Boy, and the stuff is undeniable. The fastball is hot. It's got life today. That nice slider right there. And that's a really good SEC hitter, looking a little overwhelmed right there.
66 strikeouts now and 53 innings of work for Mr. Smith. Out of Dunwoody, Georgia, a little suburb just right outside Atlanta. That one is shot down the line off the netting. And ahead again, 0-1.
We will see how good Kevin Smith is today, because I don't know if there's a more talented lineup 1 through 9 in the country than Arkansas.
And here's Martin, the freshman. 10 home runs, 38 runs batted in. This is a young guy. You know, you just don't see freshmen come into this league very often and put up the kind of numbers he's put up against this pitching.
Yeah, we see guys get off to hot starts, but not sustain it. I mean, he's hitting the middle of the order and sustaining the numbers.
0-2 on Martin. That one is up. 1-2. Dave Van Horn. Boy, they hope they're on a long road trip. They will go from Athens. They will stay here overnight and then head over to Hoover. won't play until Wednesday. And hopes that they can stay on the road for, 10, 11 days total.
Yeah, the only thing Arkansas wants to be home for is a regional and a super regional. Other than that, let's be on the road.
That one's inside 2-2. This Arkansas team, talking to Coach Van Horn, and he says health is the one thing that could slow them down. We've got to get our guys healthy. Bigger's not in the lineup again today. He's got a bum finger. Their usual shortstop. They got Cook behind the plate, but he's been battling an Achilles. And speaking of battling, Kevin Smith now 2 consecutive strikeouts. Take a look at this Georgia defense, and they have been fielding. Matter of fact, in conference games, they're the #1 fielding team in this league.
Yeah, this is, I think, the benefit of having an older team that's been out there a lot. Shepard and Talley have been outstanding in the middle. C.J. Smith, a very instinctive freshman in center field.
Two-way guy for Georgia, has pitched this series. So here's Luke Bonfield. Senior looks at a strike. Out of Skillman, New Jersey. Luke having some kind of season as well. Another guy that's closing in on double-figure home runs. There's a high chopper over to Shunk. And a 1, 2, 3 inning. Couple of strikeouts as well. So Smith off to a good start. We've played a half inning here at Foley Field. College baseball is brought to you by Pilot Flying J, the official travel center fueling the SEC. Good look at Georgia Athens GA, where graduation going on around this campus. We played a half inning here at Foley Field, and 1, 2, 3 for the Hogs. Now Georgia coming up, and Coach Strickland fills out his lineup card like this. C.J. Smith will lead things off out in center field, and it's Shunk, the sophomore third baseman, and Keegan McGovern. Young man came back to school and hoped to help his draft prospects, and I think he has done that and then some.
Yes, no question about a senior who's come back and had a great season, been one of the best hitters in the league this year.
Curry, another guy in that lineup that is just going to be tough to handle. Had a great series last year against Arkansas. Cole Ramage, though, his first time to face Georgia, the freshman out of Southlake, Texas, 6'1", 186. He has made, this will be his 16th appearance, but only his 3rd start of the year.
A lot of really intriguing freshmen on the Arkansas staff. Ramage is more of a command guy. Changeup's his best pitch. Fastball is probably his 3rd pitch, up to 90. He'll pitch backwards, meaning you'll see a lot of off-speed stuff early in the count, and his fastball primarily late in the count.
Georgia wins in 10 innings last night. On Thursday night, Arkansas wins by a run. Games could have gone either way. This has been a good series from two teams that look to be top 8 seeds as we get toward postseason play. C.J. Smith, the freshman out in center field, will lead things off. Swing and a miss on the first pitch he sees. 90 miles an hour from Cole Ramage. CJ 2 out of 7 in this series. Average overall 323, does have 1 homer.
There's that nice changeup right there. I tell you, Niels, it's fascinating. Both of these clubs, they're now teams. I mean, these are top 8 seeds. But I really like the young players on both clubs. You look at it, Arkansas, Martin and Kerstad, and now Georgia, C.J. Smith leading off.
And that one will drop in for a base hit. CJ getting some time because Tucker Bradley's got a bad hamstring. There is the skipper of the Georgia Bulldogs, Scott Strickland.
Boy, they've really built this program deliberately. Didn't go the junior college route for maybe a quick fix. They've been very patient with high school recruiting, and now you see a very strong freshman and sophomore class here at Georgia.
Played at Kent State, where he ended up coaching before he came to Athens. Led Kent State to Omaha 2012. Here's Shunk, the sophomore third baseman. One of the better two-way guys you'll find in America. Just solid at third base, been solid at the plate, and has been at the back end of that Georgia bullpen all season long.
I would argue, Niels, that their season changed when Shunk went to the back of the bullpen and really solidified that closer role. And I remember hearing last year when he was hurt how much they missed him, but now you really know. I mean, this kid is the glue for this club.
Yeah, missed the last few weeks of the season last year with a hand injury.
It also is great. It's a great perspective on how difficult freshman year is in this league. And you see Shunk's a kid as a sophomore has emerged as a, an all SEC type of player.
Chopper. That is gloved over there at third by Martin. Long throw, not in time, and Georgia will have him at first and second. Boy, unfortunate for Arkansas, but a great break for the Bulldogs, the way that ball bounced way up in the air, and they'll score to hit.
Boy, Casey Martin shows great athleticism just to even get a glove on this baseball. Almost turns this into an out. Boy, if you're Ramage, you haven't given up a super hard hit ball yet. Smith stayed on a changeup, and that's really an infield single, and now you got to face McGovern with two people on. Best of luck to you.
Keegan, 4 hits and 9 plate appearances. A senior out of Willacoochee, Georgia. Love saying that. You got to say it with a little twang, too.
That's right.
First pitch in there to Keegan, who has blasted 14 home runs, 13 doubles, and has scored 61 times. That is tops in the conference.
That's an impressive number. That's being a baseball player right there. Just, you alluded to it, Niels. Love to see kids come back for their senior year. You know, in college baseball, you can be drafted after your junior season, and I think a lot of the players feel like you've done something wrong if you don't sign after your junior year. So it's great when you see a kid come back for senior year and excel. And now Keegan McGovern is really ready to get into professional baseball.
Same thing for J.J. Schwartz, who had a great freshman year, but, good, solid sophomore and junior years, but not nearly as good as his freshman year. Stayed around and has been just fantastic for Florida. Matter of fact, I had that discussion with Scott Strickland today about staying around. He said when he was a player at Kent State, he went after his junior year. Wasn't a very high draft pick, but if he had to do over again, he would have come back for his senior year. But he said he just couldn't look at the indoor practice facility at Kent State anymore. So I just had to go.
That's a little different. Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, that's way up out of the zone. Both teams got off to offensive starts early yesterday. And McGovern goes down. Nice job by Ramage, the freshman. They get McGovern first out of the inning.
Boy, that is a big strikeout. Very nice breaking ball. Ramage, the curveball. It's a true 12-6 curveball and a changeup. That's not easy to do, punch out Keegan McGovern.
So runners first and second, one out for Michael Curry, the junior designated hitter. 3 hits this series. One of those was a home run. That occurred yesterday down the left field line.
First pitch changeup. I'll tell you, if I'm Dave Van Horn in the dugout, Cole Ramage is showing you something here. big out versus McGovern. First pitch changeup for a strike to Curry.
What big swing from Curry.
Curry spends the whole dollar, Neil. It's not.
That's a great
not a punch it to the right side swing. He doesn't have one of those.
His 9 home runs, 46 runs batted in, top 10 in the conference. He's played in 162 games in his Georgia career. Guy that came here as a catcher but got the yips throwing the baseball. Cook behind the plate playing on a bad wheel. Makes a nice play.
Next step for Curry, Neil, is if he could just find the weight room. You know, I mean, just kind of get a little bit stronger.
He is a grown man.
Seriously, you got to be kidding me. You could sneak him onto the football field and nobody would know the difference. Massive.
That one is just off the plate.
You mentioned him. Grant Cook's doing a really nice job in 2 ways. Number one, you're going to have to really block the baseball with Ramage. He's got to pitch out of the zone. But you saw that head nod, the encouragement. You got a young freshman on the mound in a huge game in a very big spot, and a junior catcher really pumping him up and encouraging him. You love to see that.
Boy, bounces it up. Cook takes it off the chest protector. And now it's full at 3-2.
Yeah, if you're Grant Cook, hopefully you had a big breakfast this morning because you're going to be busy. That's not Cole Ramage making a bad pitch. That's how he has to pitch. He has to expand below the strike zone. Love to see that. Cook hasn't had the offensive year he's wanted to, but you can see he continues to make strides defensively.
C.J. Smith at second base started things off with a single. Shunk with an infield single. He's over at first. There's a chopper out to second. Shaddy underhand toss to Kinley over to first, and they will get the double play and out of the inning. So Kinley gives up back-to-back hits to start this inning, but no damage done. We have played one, and we are scoreless.
Great instincts by the fifth-year senior. Shaddy right there. Knows he's got a little bit of time. Big double play. Will stay scoreless.
Welcome back to Athens, where we take a look at what's happening around the SEC in baseball as we wrap up the regular season. Everybody a Thursday through Saturday series this weekend. But I guess a lot of people look at Tennessee, Missouri right now.
Ooh. I mean, there's a bunch of playoff games on that screen. Tennessee, Missouri, winner goes to Hoover, loser not going. So how about LSU? A&M, Kentucky have 13 SEC wins, Niels. I mean, the difference between 13 SEC wins and 14 is massive.
And can Mississippi State pull off the sweep of number one Florida? Would that be something?
They have 8 top 5 wins. 3 against Ole Miss, 3 against Arkansas. Could they sweep Florida? No way they're sweeping Florida.
Listen, I didn't think they'd get 2, so I've already lost. Heston Kjerstad, the freshman, who has busted onto the SEC scene this year in 2018. 46 runs batted in, 11 home runs. Those RBIs, top 10 in the conference, and a .350 batting average. What do you like about him?
Oh, everything. I mean, he's just a baby, too. You look at that face. I mean, there's so much more in the tank for him. I'll tell you the thing I like the most, Niels, is Kjerstad has hit in the middle of this order from day one. And for a freshman to be able to stay upright and finish that job, this league will tear you up. And he's done it. And the numbers are spectacular.
Swing and a miss. Boy, I tell you what, Kevin Smith is on point right now. That is his 3rd strikeout to start this game.
Yeah, in the first inning it was the slider, and now that big fastball right there, just a little bit above the strike zone. It's tremendous stuff. Kevin Smith has just got dynamite stuff. The key for Smith is when he throws strikes, he's very, very good because the stuff can defend itself.
First pitch to Carson Shaddy, the senior, at second base. Swing and a miss, and another first pitch strike for Smith. That is 5 first pitch strikes.
I'll tell you, Niels, if you're an Arkansas hitter, it's pretty spooky right now. I mean, Smith's got breaking ball anytime he wants it for a strike. The fastball is jumping all over the place like it usually does. Really, if you're an Arkansas hitter, you're going to have to pick one and just be ready for it.
That one is lifted out to left center. So Shaddy will turn the corner, and he'll wind up with a double with 1 out here in the second. That's his 10th double of the year.
Speaking of older players having an awesome season, looks like Shaddy was sitting on that slider. Absolutely on time for it. Puts it in the gap. Man, there is no substitute for a veteran of the wars of the SEC like a Carson Shaddy that knows how to navigate in a bat like that.
Shaddy hitting over 400 in SEC games this year, and that number will trickle up. He was .403 before that at bats. Grant Cook, the junior catcher, another hometown product out of Fayetteville, stepping in against Smith, who just gave up his first hit of the game. You know, Cook, a guy I think offensively maybe expected a little bit more.
Yeah, junior year, kids tend to put a lot of pressure on themselves with the draft. I'll tell you, the on-base percentage 120 points higher than the batting average. That is a good sign. That means it's not struggles because we're chasing all out of the strike zone. It's interesting. He started his career at Arkansas as an offense-first catcher, and it's kind of flipped itself.
Into the Arkansas dugout. There's Holly Haynes, Miss University of Georgia. She did the national anthem before the game. We said if she was truly talented, obviously she is, but she should have thrown the first pitch while singing the national anthem today.
That would be like Miss Universe material right there. Like, just submit the video and your address for the award.
Did a great job with the anthem.
Sure did.
I've never seen the first pitch with the anthem. Maybe that's something we can institute down the road.
You could do it, Niels. That's in your skill set.
My kids don't think so, but that is a base hit off the bat of Cook, and that'll score the first run of the game. Bobbled out there by Smith, but Cook will hold up. Got that bad wheel, a bad ankle that he is playing on. Not quite 100%, but Arkansas now leads it 1-0 and give Cook his 30th run batted in of the year.
Does a nice job staying back on that breaking ball right there. Love it when the game rewards a guy. Cook did a great job blocking up those pitches in the dirt the previous inning. No worries for Smith there with the catcher running. Boy, that's a nice job. It's apparent that the Arkansas hitters have sniffed out Smith is going to that slider a lot, and that's back-to-back guys that were ready for it and put it in the gap.
Dominic Fletcher, the sophomore. Swing and a miss, 0-1, and he comes in with a .297 average.
Boy, he is a fun player to watch, Fletcher. Southern California kid, ton of personality, an elite defender. But I like it. He plays offense like he thinks he's 6'4", 200.
.88 miles an hour. 0-2. 7 home runs. 32 runs batted in, and SEC play, Dominic at .336. And 5 of those 7 home runs have come against conference pitching.
he got off to a really tough start in the non-conference. Has come on, been super hot lately.
Lifts it in the air to left. McGovern will make the play. That'll be 2 down. As far as this game goes today, each team kind of came in here. You know, you always want to win them all, but in terms of big picture, I just kind of felt like they all needed to get one. Nobody needed to get swept here.
Yes. I would say, though, for Georgia, this win would be really key for locking up a top 8 seed. I think they lose this game, it gets a little bit, you're sweating it. Let's put it that way. You're 17-13 in the league. You've gone 5-5 in SEC series if you lose today. All the other metrics are outstanding, but I would worry if I was Georgia that, man, we split our SEC series. That doesn't feel like a top 8 resume. But I'll be honest with you, I still think they would be a top 8, even if they lost today, Georgia.
They had a really good non-conference. When you talk about their rivals, they sweep Georgia Tech. They beat Clemson in 2 games.
That part of their resume is super loud. And the sweep of South Carolina, who's come on really good lately. But Georgia being 4-0 versus Georgia Tech and Clemson, I really think it shows you the strength of the SEC this year. Boy, what a quick adjustment by Smith. Moved that breaking ball to the back foot of the right-hander and then fastball up over their hands. A lot of quick adjustments by both teams in this game. Really good baseball being played.
1-2 the count to McFarland. And that'll do it. Arkansas does strike first. A double by Shaddy, and then the single by Cook. And the Hogs lead 1-0. Just amazing, and certainly I had a great relationship with Commissioner Slive, a big part of my career, and already miss him. But it is amazing what his legacy is and will be. You look at the numbers under Commissioner Slive, it's truly amazing. And the network we are on today was his baby, his project, and really proud of getting this on the air. I've had numerous conversations with him about how important he felt the network would be, and a lot of people wanted him to get one earlier, but he felt like he really wanted to make sure it was the best it possibly could be, and certainly he'll be missed by all of us. A great, great individual.
What's your favorite memory of Commissioner Slive there?
Ironically, there was an incident. He's a tough guy now. Let me tell you, when it comes to business, he is. An
incident, I like it.
Yeah, it was at the SEC baseball tournament, and I was working for another network, and the championship game was to be played at a certain time, but there was a game on before us, and it went a little long, and so the beginning of the SEC championship game didn't come on the air at the right time, and there wasn't the alternate channel to put it on, and he came running in the booth. And we weren't on the air yet, and he gave me an earful like I was the programming guy. And it was the first time I had seen that side of him. Now, to say that happened, it never happened again. I'll just say that. The fact that the SEC championship game, baseball game, always came on at the right time. But it was like, whoa.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
See, that he meant business.
So we got that fixed.
I'll tell you, though, boy, his influence on baseball. The SEC network, Neil, this is the national network for college baseball. It really is. And think about that. A long time ago, the SEC, the Pac-12, the Pac-10 at the time, that was the dominant league in college baseball, and that is completely flipped.
His daughter, Anna, was having their child, Abigail, and it was the spring meetings, and he gives a presentation and gives out some awards. It's just the presidents and the ADs and their families in this room, and he calls me up and says, I need you to come and rescue me for this thing. I've got to go. I think Anna's going to deliver the baby, and I need you to come. And he begged me to come help him out in this event. Ground ball out to short, and Kinley makes a nice throw, and Cam Shepard is retired. And so I'm right away, this is no problem. I will definitely do this. But he kept begging me. I was like, Commissioner, I'm going to do this thing. So I went down, and Anna had her child Abigail was his first grandchild, and the stories about him and Abigail are just endless, how much he just adored her. And so I do this event, and it's nice to be in front of all those folks down in Sandestin. And then it was over. He sent me text messages, note cards, left me a voicemail, how appreciative he was that I helped him out. And I never felt like I was helping him out.
Right.
He never got it. Like, I'm going to do this. I want to do this.
That's awesome.
But that's the kind of guy he was.
Boy, what a legacy.
I mean, there was a time he was the most powerful man in college athletics.
No doubt.
And listen, let's not forget the other thing, and then I'll wrap this up. But he had this whole college football playoff scenario already underway before it. He tried to push it through 4 or 5 years before it actually came to fruition. There were just some people in college athletics that didn't really want to go down that road. They felt like the model they had was sufficient and everybody was happy with it, but obviously the fans weren't, and Commissioner Slive was well aware of that. And he had this playoff format already on the books. And really the guy that, in the forefront of that the system we have now. Just another example of kind of his foresight into college athletics, just kind of understood the environment as good or better than anybody. Certainly Georgia likes the format, right?
No doubt.
Yeah. There's a walk issued to Mitchell Webb. Oh, excuse me, Talley, and Webb coming up to the plate. Couple of hits each for both these teams.
I'll tell you what stands out for both teams as you watch them play, Niels. There's a mental toughness here. That you're not going to just run away from either of these two teams. There's a confidence and a competitiveness in both clubs that really bodes well for the postseason.
Two outs in the inning for Mitchell Webb. Or the back end of this Georgia lineup is the one thing that would maybe kind of worry a little bit about offensively. You got two guys hitting sub 200.
Yep.
And we've seen more. It's become more commonplace now. You see teams put a better hitter in that 9-hole. Well, Webb's average at 189 will go up after he shoots one back up the middle.
Talley and Webb giving the rest of the Georgia lineup the answer to the test today. Boy, that is sharply hit. If you think about it, Ramage wants to pitch just beyond the strike zone, right. So Talley took the walk. And then when you got a guy that pitches backwards with the soft stuff, middle of the field is your friend. What Ramage wants you doing is turn and burn and pull off the baseball, and Webb does a nice job staying through the baseball right there.
Georgia catcher Austin Big R about to step into the box. First pitch to Austin in there for a strike.
Austin Big R is a kid with a ton of potential that you could just see. He's a very physical athlete.
Six first pitch strikes today for Cole Ramage.
And that's just a clinic by Ramage right there. Steal a strike with the breaking ball. And then, Big R has not had a ton of at-bats this year, and then you throw it just underneath the strike zone. So right now, Ramage is just one pitch ahead of Big R in this at-bat.
Swing and a miss. Inning is over. Georgia will leave a couple of runners in Arkansas after two leads 1-0. Thoughts and prayers to the Slive family. Mike Slive, one of the best there ever was. Oh, I hope you can join us. The SEC baseball tournament begins Tuesday morning in Hoover, Alabama. Here's a look at how things shape up with one day. Tennessee, Missouri playing for the right to go to Hoover. 12 teams go, 2 teams miss out. Alabama at 7-21, obviously not going to make it. But an interesting one in Columbia, Missouri today. Jack Kinley, the shortstop, pops it up way up in the air. Well, that took a long time to come down, but Cam Shepard ready to make the catch. Some other important games. I think LSU's win last night, certainly a big one for the Tigers. They were one of those teams we were talking about. Do they have enough in the tank to get to the NCAA tournament? Well, that win last night, taking down Casey Mize in Auburn, was huge for them.
Absolutely huge. But I would say they got to keep winning. LSU with an RPI of 42 right now. Remember, last year, for perspective, UConn did not get in with an RPI of 38.
Yeah.
And, a Power 5 team like an LSU sometimes held to a higher standard. Fair or unfair, it sure feels that way.
And even though it's probably not said, it's one of those things in the back of your mind, though. Those 3 letters certainly have some impact.
No doubt.
Ground ball out to short. Here's Cam Shepard. Boy, he's got some tools out there. You look at the SEC and the RPI, it's really been this story all year long. I think LSU's jumped up now to the lower 40s. 42 now is their number. Missouri sitting there at 40.
Missouri feels like the team with the most in jeopardy. This is an elimination game for them today. Sure feels that way. I'm sorry. I don't know. The other thing, Niels, is the conference tournaments. How many upsets are there? But it sure feels like LSU is headed in the right direction. A win today would be massive, though.
Well, you saw Mississippi State's RPI at 26.
We give a Coach of the Year award. We should give a Team of the Year award, and Mississippi State should get it for what those kids have done. You lose your head coach after the first series of the year. You basically didn't have fall ball because your stadium's under construction. More road games than any other SEC team. They were dead in the water in the first half of this season, and now they've come back and won 8 games against the likes of Ole Miss, Arkansas, and Florida so far.
We don't talk enough about what Gary Henderson has done to keep that train going in the right direction because, as you said, especially after getting swept by Southern Miss to start the year, and you come home and your coach is dismissed.
But I think they're in. It's amazing.
Yeah.
We're going right down the wire. There's a chance. For the SEC, there's 12 teams that as we sit here today on Saturday, they still have a chance at the NCAA tournament. Yeah. And 10's the record. And so right now, 12 are in play.
Called strike 3. Smith, a 1-2-3 inning. C.J. Smith, Aaron Shunk, Keegan McGovern, the top of the Georgia lineup. Coming up, Dogs trail by 1. Hey, Sunday night at 11:30 Eastern Time, 10:30 Central. Be sure to tune in for Rally Cap for highlights and breakdowns of the weekend softball regionals. And we'll also preview the SEC baseball tournament coming your way from Hoover, Alabama. It's all right here on the SEC Network. Also available, of course, on the ESPN app.
Can't wait to hear what our guy David DeLucci thinks about who's getting in. 12. Well, I guess if Missouri loses today, that kind of
that would
get us to 11.
But, if Missouri gets into the SEC tournament, wins 3 ball games,
I don't know how you leave them out.
Right.
They have the 7th most top 50 wins in the country.
C.J. Smith, the leadoff man, fouls it straight back. He started Georgia's attack with a base hit in the first inning. Yeah, Missouri's that team that's kind of been under the radar, but all they do is they just win enough.
It's a shame they lost Cameron Meisner.
Yeah.
I know everybody has to go through injuries, but, boy, that's a really special player for them. 6'4", 200-pound left-handed hitter who can run. Their best defender. It would have been really interesting to see what it would look like if he had stayed healthy.
They got a couple of good arms, but one of my favorites is T.J. Sikkema.
Yes.
Sophomore left-hander at the front end of that rotation right now.
Iowa kid. Love that. He pitches like he's in like an Iowa American Legion game. Like he doesn't care.
What does that mean? Break that down.
Like it's just like he's not. TJ Sikkema is not overthinking it.
Right.
It's like, okay, you and me,
right.
and you're losing.
Right.
So best of luck with that.
Okay. One and two on Smith, 333 hitter. And he looks at a called strike 3. Back to the dugout for CJ.
Ramage has been really impressive. It looks like he's got Georgia so concerned about the off-speed stuff that he could sneak that fastball in there late in the count. He's earning some more innings with this appearance so far here today.
So here's Aaron Shuck. 4 hits in the series. He singled his first time up. Keep his hit streak alive. And he pops that one up in foul territory.
I'll tell you, Niels, Cole Ramage has got the Georgia hitters expanding the strike zone, which is right where he wants these guys to be. Really impressive outing so far for the freshman.
29 strikes out of his 42 pitches. That'll get you some more work, won't it?
Yeah, it will.
That ball's lifted high in the air, deep to left center. Has McGovern done it again? Yes, he has.
Wow. How about Cole Ramage making a living going off-speed stuff early in the count, and an old hitter like Kevin McGovern making some notes in the dugout saying, first pitch breaking ball is what you like, huh? And he is just sitting on this. Look at this breaking ball. Goodbye. Not Keegan McGovern's first rodeo. Boy, that is a beautiful swing. And Niels, he doesn't try to pull it. He just hammers it to left center field.
$15 home runs, 44 runs batted in. You're right. He strikes out his first time up. First pitch, second time up, into the trees in left center.
That is just an educated at bat. You know, that's just I'm paying attention. If you're going to try and get me the same way twice, you better have an ice pack ready, because it's going to hurt.
That one is hit up into the Athens sky. Who's going to make the play? Kinley will. So one mistake by Cole Ramage, and it pays dividends as Georgia evens the score at 1 apiece.
You're counting on your older guys this time of year. Keegan McGovern sitting on the breaking ball for Georgia. What a year for this senior. We're tied up at 1.
Tied at 1 as we head to the top of the 4th inning. Arkansas and Georgia in this rubber game. Arkansas wins game 1, Georgia game 2, and joining us is Georgia's one of their exceptional starting pitchers, the senior Chase Atkins, joining us with a headset. Chase, first of all, thanks for being a part of the telecast today. Glad to have you on board. What's it been like this year for this team compared to where you were last year?
A lot of things, actually.
Yeah.
I would say this year the best thing about it is just all the, pretty much just the senior leadership we have and the confidence that we have. I mean, last year we lacked a lot of confidence early in the year and the middle of the year, but towards the end of the year, we went on a run and we knew we were a really good team, and all the freshmen, they were growing up, they got more mature, and they weren't acting like freshmen anymore. And then this year, they're all sophomores, and we're just an unbelievable team this year.
What do you mean acting like freshmen? Break that down for me.
Come on.
Right.
Did you get a 30-second timeout before you answer that?
Come on, give me some. What do freshmen do? You were once a freshman.
Long time ago.
That's right.
Base hit back up the middle by Bonfield. But, you know, as a freshman, seriously, I mean, that is kind of a loaded question. But, like, as a freshman, what is, like, the learning curve? What are some of the things that make it so tough?
It's just overcoming adversity, honestly. I mean, like, as a pitcher, like, if I throw a bad game the next weekend, you can't let it affect you the next weekend. I mean, that's hard to deal with when you're a freshman, because when I was a freshman, I mean, I would throw a bad game and I would dwell on it for days, maybe a week, and then my next start would come up and I'd still be thinking about the last start. I mean, you just can't do that.
Just how the other thing, right, we were thinking about your fellow senior Keegan McGovern in the previous inning, Chase, where, you know, Cole Ramage is a freshman out there, and he's trying to flip that little breaking ball in there, and Keegan McGovern's having none of it. When you see something like that, or you probably saw that all the time in fall ball off McGovern.
Nope, that one's lifted to left center. And Keegan there to make the catch. They'll try to tag, and to throw to second, not in time.
Yeah, Keegan is a very, very strong individual. If you float one in there, he's going to hit it a long way. Like you just saw it right there. He went backside, just easy. And in the fall, he hit a couple balls all the way up there somewhere.
Not off of you, though, right? Maybe.
There was one.
I love it.
Yeah. You know, this team, you know, you talk about growth pains a year ago to get to where you are now, but what is it as you look at this team? What is the makeup of this team as you guys head to the postseason? How would you describe that dugout right now?
I don't want to be cheesy. I got to try and think of something better than.
Be cheesy. It's okay. Rune's is cheesy all the time,
right.
every day.
I'm pro cheesy.
Like I said, confidence is one, but altogether I would just say, like, something along the terms of a brotherhood. I mean, we're all very, very close. We all hang out together. On the road, we always have a good time. When we're here in Athens, we always have a good time, and we love being around each other.
How much do you guys talk about, you know, top 16 seed, top 8 seed? Does that discussion go on much, or you guys just play ball? Oh,
all the time. We talk about it, and we talk about it just to joke around with it. We're like, dang, we only moved up one. Oh, I guess we suck again. Stuff like that. We don't ever take it very seriously, thank God.
You know, you got a little good old boy twang in you, right? I mean, you like the outdoors. That's a good way to put it, right?
Yes, sir, I do.
Who else on that team can hang with you when it comes to your off-the-field activities out in the woods?
Not many. I would probably say one other person, probably little man, Zach Christenfeld. Me and him have been hunting before. We have a good time with it.
Now, you talk about hunting now. Is there fishing involved in that, too?
I mean, fishing, hunting, all the above, everything.
So what are we doing right now? Like, what are we doing when we get away from the field now?
Well, turkey season just ended, so we can't go do that. But the only thing you could really do now is go catch a big bass or go deep sea fishing or inshore fishing or go kill some hogs or something. I don't know.
Go kill some hogs.
Anything else? There's always something to do, always.
You have a fishing spot? You got a spot?
Oh, I got a couple spots around here in Athens, yes, I do. Knock on the people's door and ask, can I fish it?
How does that go for you?
50-50 chance.
I love it.
Who do you take with you? I mean, is there somebody that you say, come on, man, you got to come with me. I got to show you how to do this. Is there a guy on that team? Is there a couple of those guys?
Yeah. There's a lot of kids on the team actually like fishing. They actually enjoy it. But my main guy would probably be like Zach, like I said. And then even our manager, Lane Ledford, he's one of our little country boys, too. He comes along with us all the time, too.
Strikeout of Carson Shaddy, 2 down.
So, Chase, what about Kevin Smith? You know, he's a junior. It's his draft year. He's your Friday night guy. Was great on the Cape. And then, you know, in essence, he gets demoted to the bullpen. He gets asked to go to the bullpen. And Coach Strickland says he did that with a spectacular attitude. What was that like for your team to watch Kevin Smith kind of, you know, accept a different role for you guys?
Oh, it was huge. I mean, you saw Kevin come out of the bullpen. He was lights out. It was actually fun to watch. I mean, he was racking up a ton of strikeouts. And, shoot, he was beating my strikeouts, and I'm a starter. I was like, what the heck is going on? But, no, it's awesome. I mean, you can ask him yourself. He always says, I always pitch terrible at the beginning of the year. I don't even care. Like, he's like, I always pitch terrible at the beginning of the year. And he's like, I'm not worried about it. And then the end of the year comes around, he's lights out.
That's a very left-handed thing of him to say. He is a left-hander.
Lefties are weird, I know.
Yeah, that's right.
Chase, your path to Georgia, I mean, here you are, right? You started Coastal. Then I think you went junior college before you got here.
Oh, yeah.
Could you, I mean, obviously you have great expectations about how this is going to turn out, but in terms of your path, I mean, could you see it ending like this? I mean, where you guys have a chance to, you know, we saw a sign saying going to Omaha. I mean, that's what we're talking about now.
shoot, hopefully. I mean, yeah, I've had a long, shoot, it feels like a 10-year baseball college career.
Right.
Moving around, but when I got here, I felt like it was the place for me. And shoot, when I came in here, the only thing I was thinking about was going to regional Omaha, and then you just learn a lot. You just learn a ton by overcoming adversity, like I said. And then this year rolls around, you're like, wow, we're about to make a run. It's about to be fun to watch.
Now, you pitched with your brother. That ball's hit out to center field. And let's see if that one will stay in the park. It does, off the wall, and Arkansas will take a 2-1 lead as Cook just missed getting one out of here, and the Hogs lead 2-1 as Cook picks up his second hit of the day and his 6th double of the season. Could you see the location on that pitch, Chase?
I wasn't even watching. I was distracted by these guys talking to me.
Yeah.
We have that effect on you.
Yeah. Kevin Smith's reaction will tell you it was elevated and it was middle. And that's what happens.
So 2-1 lead for Arkansas right now. Chase, you pitched with, we're talking about, you had a chance to pitch with your brother. When you think back, that's a pretty special time, I would think, right, at Coastal Carolina?
Oh, it was awesome. Twin brother. He's my identical twin, by the way, and we grew up. I mean, we love this. We're pretty much the exact same person. I mean, he's at the game now. You see him, you'll be like, "Dang, Chase, why are you in the stands?"
Right.
He's actually had that happen to him a lot.
That's great. And you got another brother that pitched too, right?
No, he was a catcher at Middle Tennessee State.
Okay. So where does all the baseball come from in your family?
Well, my dad, he played baseball, and when he was in high school, he didn't do it in college, but I know we were little. We just, in the fall, we always went hunting, and then when the spring came around, we played baseball.
So you were a two-sport guy, right? Hunting and baseball, right?
We never played football. We played some basketball, but in the fall, we went hunting. In the spring, we played baseball.
Did you guys all play for the same summer program?
Oh, yeah.
Where was that?
Team Elite.
How were you guys? Were you good?
Oh, yeah. We were the top, we were the top team.
That's right. Team Elite is good.
I tell you what, SEC tournament's coming up. How big a deal is it? We talk about NCAA tournament, but you get 12 teams out of this league together. How big a deal is that for the players?
I mean, it's a big deal. Just another thing, just making sure we all stay healthy after the SEC tournament. I mean, it's always fun to win the SEC tournament. We're going to try and win it, but we all just want to stay healthy. Oh, we'll get that.
Somebody's going to get it.
Cameron.
There you go. Listen, we'll let you go. That's the end of the. It's been great spending time with you. Good luck rest of the way. Enjoyed watching you pitch.
I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
All right, Chase. Thanks, buddy.
Y'all.
Oh, the College World Series coming to ESPN in a few weeks from Omaha, Nebraska. Well, some teams that have made some substantial turnarounds. How about Texas? That they have, looks like they are certainly a team to keep an eye on as the postseason comes. We talked about Mississippi State. Arkansas, 7 wins in conference play in 2016. They turned it around a year ago. And Oregon State, we say turned around. I mean, they just keep chugging, don't they?
And what it is, it's evidence, Niels, that how quickly things can turn for you in college baseball. Oregon State's a great example. They didn't make the NCAA tournament 2 years ago. Last year, they had one of the best seasons in the history of our sport.
This year's not much
no
worse than.
They have 96 wins over the last 2 years. It's fairly good.
That is crazy. Out to short. Kinley scoops and fires. I'm going to put you on the spot right here. If you had to pick a team right now, because I know there's some luck involved, but if you had to say right now the team that will win the College World Series, who is that team?
I have so I'm going to put a caveat in here. If Maverick Handley, the catcher for Stanford's healthy, right, I would pick Stanford.
And that is because?
Because I think they're the only team that can match up in every way with Florida, especially on the mound.
So we'll see how the.
But not without Maverick Handley, by the way.
That's lifted in the air to the right side. Looks like Shaddy will make the play. Now, there is a committee of one that we like to defer to at times.
The Rooney Committee.
Yeah, and here's how it looks right now as your top 8 seeds. Florida, Oregon State, Stanford, top 1, 2, 3. They've been that kind of combination all year.
Yeah, and Oregon State's RPI is a little lower, but they're just dominating teams. You know, they just dominated Stanford last week. How about your Stetson Hatters at number 8 right there? Dominating the ASUN, number 2 nationally in ERA, first-round pick for sure, and Logan Gilbert. And then Florida State snuck back in there.
They played well last, what, a 10-game win streak right now or something?
I'll tell you, you start looking at their resume too, Niels. It's impressive.
Do you think Stetson, and I know on your committee of one they have a top 8 seed, but does Stetson really get a look at it? Will they get a chance to
I think what's going to hurt Stetson is we have their RPI and the metrics, but we also have regional advisory committees made up of coaches, and their job is to give the committee the eyeball test. And I think what's going to happen, the Atlantic Sun is in the SEC's region, and I think what's going to happen is the committee's going to say Stetson would be like the 7th to 9th team in the SEC, and I think that's going to cost them a top 8 national seed.
Well, that's sharply hit, but stabbed by Shaddy. Nice play by the second baseman, and the Hogs have a 1-2-3 inning, and they lead it by 1. They were thinking Ramage might give him 3. He's given him 4 good ones.
Yeah, the young freshman mixing and matching, throwing those off-speed pitches early in the count, getting it done. The Hogs up 2-1.
Boy, a good one going on here at Foley Field. Arkansas leads it 2-1 in the rubber game between these two high-powered clubs, both looking at top 8 seeds as the postseason approaches. But Cole Ramage has been very good on the mound for Arkansas today. 53 pitches, 33 strikes. Smith has been really good for Georgia. 50 pitches, 39 of those have been strikes. McFarland will step in for Arkansas. He's at first base today. Boy, and that was... I asked the question of Dave Van Horn. I know he gets asked all the time, but, you know, as a journalist, announcer, I got to ask the question, you know, what's the plan for first base coming up down the stretch? And he just kind of, took a deep breath, and he's trying to figure it out. It's been a sore spot for him.
Yep. There's just not that perfect player over there for Arkansas where you're getting elite defense and elite offense. They don't have that guy. So the question becomes, what do you give back? And Jordan McFarland has a chance. He can take over a game offensively on the right day, but he's a work in progress at first base. You know, I wonder if he doesn't end up in left field someday in his career. But boy, he can hit.
Check swing. He went. It's one of those things where they've run 3 guys out there. If they could just kind of mold a little something out of each of those guys, they'd have them an all-star type player.
And it's funny, you think anybody can play first base until you see the look on your infielders that look at you like, Coach, are we really doing that over there? No offense, he's my guy and all, but, you know, he could DH too now.
Right. Todd Walker was telling us, our counterpart here in the broadcast of SEC baseball, and he was talking about one of the positions he got thrown into was first base. Swing and a miss, strikeouts. Out number 1, and he's got to walk right past his head coach, Dave Van Horn. Not much of a discussion there.
I love Coach Van Horn. He is a tough man. I love it.
But Todd Walker was telling me when he got put at first base, he said one of the things that was really he had to get used to was like some of the, depending on who it was, but guys, like, they're throwing fastballs with movement. And some guys have balls that dive one way, others another way. He said you got to really learn who's throwing the ball to you to get a read on it. It was something he hadn't really thought about until he got settled at first base.
Yep. That part of it's almost like playing catcher. Like, you got to get to know your infielders. Yeah. They change their arm slots all the time.
Here's Kinley.
I remember Evan White last year from Kentucky, one of the best first basemen I've ever seen. And the Mariners, I think, took him in the first round. And they want to put him in center field because he's such a good athlete. But then you lose one of the great first basemen you could have in your minor league system. It's really tricky.
You know, the other thing, if you don't play it all the time, Chris Burke talks about, because he's another utility guy that was an middle infielder growing up, but when he got to pro ball, they utilized him at first base. And he said cutoffs and where you got to be positioned is something that he never really thought about until they put the first base glove on him.
The hard part about, for Berkey, he's not a great athlete, so that's where you can see that kid run into problems right there. I'll say that, Niels. I'll jump on that grenade for you.
Okay, good. Thanks. Thanks.
But, like for a first baseman, you got a ground ball through the infield. You've got to be the first baseman until it's into the outfield. So you're it's almost like playing free safety in football.
Boy, another strikeout by Smith. 8 this afternoon for Kevin Smith.
Made a nice adjustment with that slider, starting it in the strike zone, running it out of the strike zone. Kenley, the left-handed hitter. Boy, this is your third starter, Niels. This is pretty good. You can see why he was Friday night early in the year.
So 2 down. Eric Cole, the leadoff man in this Arkansas lineup, struck out and grounded out today.
The real tough decision for Scott Strickland on Kevin Smith was he was so dynamic as a reliever that that's almost like a security blanket for a coach to have that type of dominance in your bullpen. I would say this, the other thing that the one concern you have for Georgia is when Ryan Webb was in the rotation, you're going to the postseason with 2 freshmen in your starting rotation because they're going Adkins, Emerson Hancock, and then Ryan Webb. Well, now Kevin Smith gives you another veteran in your rotation.
Boy, 3-0 on Cole. Smith pitched last week against Florida, got the win on Sunday. 7 innings, 6 hits, and there's a 4-pitch walk. That's the first walk of the game against 8 strikeouts for Kevin Smith.
And that's the issue with Smith in the rotation, Niels. He's going to walk people. There's going to be a bunch of strikeouts, and there's going to be walks, and you just have to live with it.
So Casey Martin with 2 strikeouts. See if he hasn't learned something. The freshman at third base with 10 homers and 38 runs batted in this year.
See if Casey Martin makes an adjustment to the slider. You think about Shaddy's good at bats and Cook's good at bats. They waited for slider up, whereas Casey Martin, the youngster, has chased the slider out of the strike zone. See if he can make a quick adjustment here. I think he's going to want that one back. Niels, that was the slider that Shaddy and Cook have hammered, the one up in the zone. So now you can see him shaking his head. What you can't do now is chase the slider out of the strike zone. That's freshman year for you sometimes. You just feel like you're 1 pitch behind the game. And you watch the older guys like Cook and Shaddy, and you're thinking, man, I know it's not that easy.
Well, that's what Chase Atkins was talking about last with his team. That once they quit acting like freshmen, Georgia started rolling. I guess you just got to figure things out on your own. Some guys get it quicker than others.
It's just that adjustment as a freshman, you come into the league with the SEC. Think about it. Everybody's a 3-hole hitter. Everybody's a Friday night guy compared to where you came from. And everything's so much faster. It's even batting practice is a little stressful in the beginning. Just a whole different level of play.
Georgia obviously thinks Arkansas's got some action here on an 0-1 count.
If Dave Van Horn likes to go up tempo at times, and Casey Martin hasn't seen Kevin Smith all that well, this would be a decent time to take a chance.
Just misses outside. 1-1 the count.
This is the critical pitch in the at-bat. I think Kevin Smith is certainly going breaking ball here. It sure feels that way. Can Casey Martin make the adjustment?
Fouled off. 1-2.
Still chasing it down. You could see Casey Martin, boy, the athletic talent is at a very high level, but right now just trying to get his mind right, and now you got to battle with 2 strikes.
It's even now, 2-2.
That's a great take right there by Casey Martin, and he's getting that breaking ball at his back foot right now. So can he go on the one that's up in the zone in a strike and stay off the one that's going to be starting the strike zone and go out of the strike zone? Boy, if I'm Dave Van Horn, I think I'm running right here. You got a really good hitter in Casey Martin. Here's the other thing. I don't want Luke Bonfield leading off the next inning. I want Casey Martin leading off if we make it out here if you're Arkansas.
Lifted into the air. Shallow center field. Long run for Smith. And he makes the catch. Arkansas will leave one, but they lead it by a run. When we come back, we'll talk with Arkansas shortstop who's got a banged up left finger. We'll talk to you about that and so much more. Stay with us. Arkansas leading Georgia 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Hawks trying to win this series on the road here in Athens and head over to Hoover, Alabama. Joining us now down in that dugout is their shortstop, Jax Biggers, although he's kind of cheerleader here this weekend with a bum finger. And Jax, thanks for joining us. I guess a lot of Arkansas fans want to know how you're doing and when can we expect to see you back on the field?
I'm doing a lot better. I still got stitches in my hand or my finger right now, and they should come out on Tuesday. So if all goes well and it all feels right, hopefully Wednesday, give it a go.
Exactly what happened? I know you had the bat in your hand trying to bunt, but explain exactly what went on with the injury.
I just tried to bunt and ball crushed the finger, my index finger, and my whole hand went numb, like how when you get jammed.
Yeah.
And then after like 2 seconds, I realized, okay, this is just my finger. I called Corey, our trainer. Saw some blood in my glove and then took it off, and it got ugly.
Yeah, that's all we'll say about that.
Yeah.
Right? So you got stitches in there, but I know you took some ground balls and said it didn't exactly feel great, but was it good enough to give you some optimism that it can all be worked out by the time you get to Hoover?
Yeah, it was. I didn't feel the best, but the fact that I was able to do it and feel the pain and knowing the pain's gonna get more better or less pain every day. It definitely gives me hope and makes me feel good about the situation coming for the future.
So, Jax, I got to give full disclosure here. Last year, you were instantly one of my favorite players in this league because it's like you missed the equipment meeting. You're just out there with your glove, no batting glove, no TV tape, no money sleeve, no Oakleys, just a ball player.
There's a base hit. Hold on just a second. Jax's Webb will end up with a double as he smashes that one down the line. And a leadoff double for the Bulldogs here in the bottom of the 5th.
Another senior in this game, Mitchell Webb, getting it done. It's like the older guys have really risen to the occasion in this game. Casey Martin, that's about all you can do there. That ball was really scorched. But I was going to ask you, Jax, do the guys tease you about that? I mean, you're a simple guy. Like, you don't have all the flash and the sizzle.
Right. Yeah, I do batting gloves.
I know. I was really disappointed about that this year. You didn't do them last year. I was going to give you a call or something.
Yeah, no, I like wearing batting gloves. Just feel better in my hands. But all the other stuff, I don't know. It's really just not comfortable on me.
Well, this Arkansas team, Jax, has put together quite the season. Great RPI, outstanding strength of schedule. How as this team hits the postseason, is this team, when healthy, how good can you be?
Yeah, really good. Even when we're not healthy, we got a bunch of depth. Here we go. We got a bunch of depth at every position, and so we feel confident with whoever in the game or in the lineup. But I think when this team's 100% healthy, it's a force for sure.
What is it about this season that will stand out? I know there's some baseball left, but as this season has unfolded and we're closing in on 60 games or so, what stands out in your mind when you look back at this 2018 season?
Hopefully the future of this team stands out, but the season we're in today, what would stand out is how impressive or how hard it is to get a sweep here in the SEC and how many times we've done it this year at home. It's impressive, and so I think it's just a good thing for our fans.
Well, what happened there, Jax?
Good bunt, but I think a little.
Like what was supposed to happen? If that was going to work perfectly, what should have happened defensively?
I think just the pitcher and Martin didn't communicate well on that. That's all I got for that one.
Yeah, that's right. I'll take that one for you, Jackson. I think Casey's got to come get that one.
Yeah,
I
don't want to say it.
Okay. I got you.
Hey, listen, we'll let you go. Got a tight ball game here. We'll see you over in Hoover. Hope you get healthy, man. We need you back on the diamond.
Appreciate it. I want to be back on there.
All right, buddy. Thanks, Jax.
Good talking to y'all.
Well, now Arkansas in a dicey situation like Jax. Well, he is kind of an old school, just let's play. He's a ball player.
He is a ball player.
And a good one. And I think, his average last year, he really was offensively a solid player. Numbers a little bit down this year, but certainly it's in there.
But and the thing he did last year as a junior college transfer is the ball's hit to short, it's an out. Right. I mean, he made the routine play look easy, and it's just not. So really did a great job solidifying that position. I like his answer. He just said all the stuff is uncomfortable. I'm sure his teammates, like a Dominic Fletcher from California, would say, hey, comfort's not the issue, man. Look good, play good.
That's what our boy Chris Burke would say, right? Burke is all about the TV tape. Boy, you look at Ramage, who has – I think, if you would have asked Dave Van Horn if we could get to the fifth with a 2-1 lead with Ramage on the mound, who hasn't – it's only his third start of his young career, he'd feel pretty good about it, and that's the situation. But can he pitch himself out of this jam? Lineup flips over to Smith. He's trying to lay down the bunt. It is a good one. The only play over to second. They will get the out. So a little safety squeeze action by the Bulldogs. Gets them a run, and we are tied at 2.
This kind of game right now, Niels, where it hits a little playoff action, it almost looked like a bunt for a hit that became a safety squeeze right there. Certainly not suicide squeeze. Little unusual. You see that first and third with one out when you're worried about a double play. A lot of times with nobody out, you'll let him swing to see if you can run into a big inning. Right. But I think Scott Strickland's thinking this game's getting won 4-3, 3-2. It's time to play for a run.
Here's Shunk. Swing and a miss. Shunk does it all for this Georgia team. Had a single in the first, extended his hit streak to 22 games.
That's the other benefit to the safety squeeze right there. You got a runner in scoring position again.
Now it's 0-2 on Shunk.
Boy, if we're wondering why Georgia's having the season they are, it's just look at the execution. This inning they were called for 2 bunts and both perfectly executed by guys. C.J. Smith is a freshman, and Austin Bigar hasn't played every day at catcher, and those guys getting it done.
61 pitches now for Cole Ramage, the freshman out of Southlake, Texas. Boy, and he gets shunked. 2 outs now.
Boy, this changeup is a pitch that you're going to write down on scouting reports in the SEC. Just an outstanding swing and miss changeup right there. How about Ramage? Not getting overly sped up and trying to find his way out of this inning. Very impressive.
Well, McGovern took Ramage deep his last time up, and first pitch he saw in his second at bat hit it into the trees in left center. Dave Van Horn says we don't need any of that with the runner on.
Right.
So Evan Lee getting the call out of that bullpen. But what a job by Cole Ramage today, making just his 3rd start of his young career. We'll call it an afternoon. We'll update the change on the other side. Dave Van Horn's probably thinking he might get 3 innings out of Cole Ramage. He got a little bit more than that. 4 2/3, 6 hits, 5 strikeouts, a couple of runs. And the runner on second, of course, his responsibility. But overall, a good, solid performance from the freshman. And he'll turn it over to Evan Lee, the sophomore out of Bryant, Arkansas, 6'2", 200-pound left-hander, making his 14th appearance, 14 strikeouts, an ERA of just under 4.6.
This is another guy, Niels, they would love to get Evan Lee going. Give him another left-handed option out of the bullpen. Lee's a really good athlete, a two-way player. Just not quite in momentum on the mound.
First pitch, breaking ball to McGovern, who hammered the last pitch he saw. And this is what it looked like.
And he was just camped out on Ramage's get me over breaking ball. Just an advanced approach to hitting right there.
You know, we see so many guys now because we're all about exit velocity, launch angle. Guys are giving max effort on the swing. That wasn't even like max effort, and he still hit it 390 feet. Oppo.
That was, oh no.
Did he do it again? Kerstad at the track makes the catch. McGovern just missed it. Lee getting out of the jam. We're tied at 2. Well, the softball NCAA tournament underway this weekend. Matter of fact, all 13 SEC teams that play softball got to the NCAA tournament. And a good start for the conference as they went 10-2 on the opening day, had 7 shutouts along the way.
Yeah, the SEC in softball, that's just utter domination.
Yeah, it's not fair. Every team in the conference got in. That is crazy. At one point this year, every team had a top 30 RPI.
Amazing. We
will head to the 6th inning in a tie ball game. Kind of appropriate. Both games have been very close. 2-run game, and game number 1 on Thursday. Arkansas won that one. Then a 1-run walk-off victory by the Dogs yesterday. Actually ended up in the evening as there was a pretty lengthy rain delay. Dave Van Horn feels real good about this team.
Yeah, as he should.
Yeah.
This is a team that could win the whole thing. When Arkansas is playing well, it's as good as any team in the country. The one weekend I can't get out of my mind is we started SEC play. Kentucky, who was a top 8 team preseason, went to Fayetteville, and Arkansas ran them off the field the whole weekend. Swept them, and it wasn't close.
But on the flip side of that, like, what happens when you play Mississippi State and get swept? Like, where does that go?
That's, they almost lost a series to USC, which is the 9th place team in the Pac-12. But I would say this, Niels, Arkansas is not going on the road for the postseason.
Called strike 3. Another strikeout. It's 9 for Smith as Bonfield goes down on strikes.
That's the thing, Niels, for me. I can't imagine right now a team going into Fayetteville and Baum Stadium and beating Arkansas twice. In my mind, that's not going to happen, and that's what's going to have to happen to keep these guys from Omaha. For me, Arkansas for sure is a top 8 national seed. I think Georgia, this is a really important game. They're a top 8 national seed as we sit here in the 6th inning, but I don't know if they lose this game and then things don't go great in Hoover. That it starts to get a little more fragile.
Arkansas, by the way, at home is 30-3.
And someone's going to have to beat them there twice. Just not seeing it.
Kerstad. Ground ball out to second. L.J. Talley makes the play.
Now batting number 20, the second baseman.
Bulldogs getting loose on a warm afternoon in that bullpen as Smith still pitching pretty well, just 74 pitches. He has given up 4 hits and 2 runs, 16 first pitch strikes. His 9 strikeouts ties his career high. That's chopped into the Arkansas dugout.
For Georgia, Niels, that the whole bullpen's available except for Aaron Schunk, and that's a pretty big if. But, or except, I should say. That's your guy, but that for Georgia, that has been a massive strength of this club. The bullpen has been tremendous.
That's out of play. It'll be 0-2 on Shaddy.
That's the way Carson Shaddy's career needs to end, by the way, in Omaha. That kid deserves to play. He deserves to finish his career in Omaha. He has been such a mainstay for Arkansas over the last 5 seasons.
Came into this one hitting .357.
Fayetteville kid. It's fun watching the older guys have their at-bats because you better have a diverse arsenal. If you think you're beating Carson Shaddy the same way over and over again, you're mistaken.
How about the job from the left-hander Kevin Smith? He now has a career-high 10 strikeouts. We're tied at 2.
The slider's been outstanding, and now you've got the fastball up. That's veteran on veteran right there. Kevin Smith making it happen.
Not many guys have gone into Gainesville, Florida and knocked off the Gators, but Kevin Smith did that last weekend, and he continues that role here in Athens today. Career-high 10 strikeouts through 6 innings. There is the out breakdown for him. 10 Ks and then 8 outs have been off the bat. Here's Michael Curry, Georgia's cleanup hitter with 9 homers, and you can make it 10. That may break a windshield. His second home run of the weekend.
Keegan McGovern gets a lot of attention, but you gotta make sure you worry about this guy right here. Not sure there's a stronger player than Michael Curry in this league. Fastball up and in. Boy, that was impressive. Yikes.
That gives Georgia the 3-2 lead as Sasser will step in. Adam looking for his first hit today. Struck out, a strikeout and a ground out.
I got to tell you, Niels, I think the outsiders' perception of Florida or of Georgia is haven't made a tournament since 2011. They had all these young guys last year. I don't think that's their perception of themselves. I think Georgia's perception of themselves is we're really good.
Yeah. It may have taken them a while, I think, to get to that point.
Fair, yeah.
But I think they believe now.
Yeah.
Dave Van Horn believes now's the time to change pitchers as well. And we will see the third arm of the day for the Hogs. And Isaiah Campbell, who we didn't think we would see, is jogging in from that bullpen. He has been bothered by a bad foot, but apparently feeling better today. They actually brought him in on crutches this weekend because his foot had swelled. They don't even know what happened. He woke up one morning and his foot had just doubled in size. Apparently feeling pretty good. So here is Isaiah Campbell, the redshirt sophomore, and he is a big boy now.
Yeah, this is huge for Arkansas because you start thinking about a super regional. We know that Blaine Knight and Casey Murphy are going games 1 and 2, but what if one of those two guys loses a game? Right. Who's throwing game 3 of a super regional? Isaiah Campbell's the guy they want and need it to be. 6'4", 225, absolutely looks the part. Big arm, fastball 90 to 93. You can see plenty of strikeouts. He throws plenty of strikes. I think the ERA is a little higher there, Niels, because he just had a choppy season. He's been in and out, in and out. But this is a real guy, and Arkansas is going to need him in the postseason.
And certainly, if he's a guy that they could run out on a Wednesday at the tournament if if they keep his pitch count a little bit low, and he feels good. He's a guy that could be your first game starter in Hoover.
And they have to get him right for the postseason because you go into game 3 of a super regional with all that pressure. The difference, no offense to Cole Ramage, but the difference between having a veteran in Campbell or a true freshman on the mound, that's the bottom line. Arkansas's got to have Isaiah Campbell.
Right now they need some outs. Georgia with a runner on, nobody out, and they lead 3-2 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Also, Jared Gates coming in the game at first base, replacing Jordan McFarland. Gates, yesterday's starter. Been a revolving door over at first base this year for the Hogs.
Yeah, that's Dave Van Horn is banking on Kevin Smith maybe not going too much longer, I guess, because Gates is a left-handed hitter. That's going to be a really tough matchup against Kevin Smith.
Well, we've seen Keegan McGovern go deep today, his 15th home run for the Dogs. We just saw Michael Curry hit his 10th of the season and a home run in back-to-back games now for Curry. And Georgia's taken this one-run lead. Cam Shepard, Georgia's outstanding sophomore Cam Shepard will step in. He's 0 for 2 today.
That's the amazing thing about this season for Georgia. They're doing this with Cam Shepard hitting 254, who is a much better player than that.
Well, there is a lot to like about Cam Shepard. We saw Evan Lee over there just shaking his head. That did not go well for Evan. McGovern, the first guy he faced in the 5th, almost went yard. First pitch out to short. Kinley, little scoop over to second, and how about that? Campbell comes in and gets the double play, 2 down in the inning. That couldn't have gone any better.
Fairly efficient by Isaiah Campbell. One pitch. Boy, it's a nice turn right there. That ball's hard hit by Cam Shepard. That's a concern for Arkansas right now without Jack Spiggers. That ball really gets up into Kenley.
Kinley didn't have a great game yesterday. Had a couple of balls that got away from him on a double play, and he misfired on a throw. Ball kind of slipped out of his hands. But Dave Van Horn telling me today he really likes Kinley. I mean, he's a guy that has a chance to be the shortstop next year.
And when you're not playing every day, you tend to sit back and the ball plays you. And whereas you get in that rhythm of playing every day, you find infielders to get much more aggressive going and getting the hop that they want.
Biggers having to watch their everyday shortstop from the dugout. He's done that all weekend, and that's a tough thing to do for a competitor like him.
Yep. Best compliment I can give Jack Spiggers is when a ground ball's hit to him, it's boring. It's just an out. He just catches it and throws it to first. That is exactly what you want.
That ball is smashed to center. Dominic Fletcher will get there in time to make the catch. So Georgia gets a lead run off the bat of Michael Curry. His 47th RBI gives Georgia the 3-2 lead. The College World Series, the 2018 edition, just around the corner. Georgia Bulldogs hoping they can get there. Arkansas certainly has their eyes set on it, but it's that time of the year when we start looking at teams' full bodies of work. And we've got two teams that have played good baseball here, and just kind of figure out who's who. The team on the left, if you had to pick one of these two teams, based on the numbers, to be your team.
Well, I would start here. 8 losses to 17 losses, that's a big difference. Right. You know, that's a 9-loss difference right there. 2 outstanding RPIs, top 5 RPIs nationally. Strength of schedule, you know, the team on the right with 4, that's really, really strong. But 32 is an outstanding strength of schedule as well.
How about the wins versus top 50?
Yeah,
team?
that
18 for one team.
Yep, that's loud. And, you know, you can only play who's on your schedule, but that's a lot of really high-quality wins. I would say both teams are in a really good place. Those are 2 outstanding resumes.
Here's Grant Cook. He looks at a strike, 1-1. Well, we'll show you that in a moment to let you think about that, but it's always interesting when you start comparing numbers. You know, obviously in the SEC, so much of these games are televised. You can get the eye test. That one has popped up out of play, but it's hard for some teams that aren't on TV a lot.
Yes.
To really kind of, you know, we all talk about the eye test.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, and it's hard to determine some of them. Like you talk about Stetson having a really good year. How many people have even seen them play in the last 10 years?
Yeah. I mean, everyone's seen their first guy out, Logan Gilbert. I shouldn't say everyone,
right.
But people saw him in the Cape Cod League last summer, and he's a projected first-round pick. But you're right. Actually get your eyeballs on their team? No, next to nobody.
That is 11 strikeouts for Kevin Smith today. Let's go back to that blind resume, and here are the teams we're talking about. And the ones from out west and ones from here in the deep south,
wow.
Stanford and Georgia.
I tell you what's revealing about that, Niels, is Stanford is a lock to be one of the top 3 seeds. They're either 2 or 3, right, depending on how you like them. And Georgia, we start talking about, man, if they lose today and they've only won 5 out of their 10 SEC series, does that push them out of the top 8 race? Well, that blind resume exercise makes a great argument for them.
Scooped up over there at first base by Adam Sasser. That'll be 2 down. Yeah, that to me, what we just saw, regardless of what happens today and regardless of what happens at the tournament, the SEC tournament, I don't know how you don't give Georgia a top 8 seed.
Yeah, it's I'm with you. The thing is, for me, Georgia's resume is strong. 4-0 versus the ACC. We talked about that. And there's not a team that's come and gotten them. You know, even if they lost today, and you want to, you know, kind of downgrade them for that, there's no team outside the top 8 that's come and gotten them.
You know, last weekend, how about Friday night in Gainesville? They had a chance to win that game. They blew it in the bottom of the 9th. I don't want to say blew it. Florida came back to win it. But they could have easily been swept. I mean, a lot of teams, matter of fact, that was the 19th consecutive series victory for Florida.
Yep.
Going back to 2017. I mean, Florida's dominated everybody, but Georgia found a way to win Game 3 in that series.
Yep. They have not been swept, and that is huge in this league. If you can avoid the sweep, that's a big deal. I'll tell you, the Kentucky series jumps out for me. Georgia had that series won. And same thing, they coughed up a lead in the 9th inning. And but from A to Z, this Georgia team has put together one heck of a resume. I would be really surprised if they're not a top 8 seed.
Jared Gates, who just entered the game defensively, now with 2 strikes.
It's interesting for Stanford, though, in their defense. I mean, you look at their non-conference schedule. They played Texas, Rice, Fullerton, Michigan. I mean, they played a really good non-conference schedule. And Stanford has a chance to win the Pac-12. And maybe I'm old-fashioned in this regard, but I think that still has to mean something when you win your regular season crown.
That one is way off the plate. I'm with you. I feel that way about basketball. I think it's a bigger challenge to win your regular season. But yet we continue to get the bids to the tournament teams.
Yeah. Well, the problem with regular season titles anymore is that the unbalanced schedules have really messed that up a little bit.
And there's a walk on a 3-2 pitch. So we've seen that a couple times, 2 outs in the inning, and Smith will walk a runner.
You can see Kevin Smith mad at himself. That is, you're absolutely cruising. Got a 1-2-3 inning right in your fingertips, and then you walk a guy.
There's the bullpen. A lot of arms available down there. That's a foul ball. It sounded like that was off the bat. Boy, now Dave Van Horn is asking Jack Kinley if that hit him.
Yeah, you can see the ball clearly redirects off of something.
I'm going to say this. If that ball hit his hand, he would have jumped off. That bat, he would have dropped that bat or something. We would have seen some indication that that ball hit him.
Yes. Yeah, because that's a fastball. Yeah. And it clearly hit something because Big R, there's no way he's just going to whiff on this. Oh, that's a foul ball. That's a great look right there.
It is a reviewable play. So our umpiring crew looks like they're going to head down that way and get another look at it. But I don't want to say it didn't hit him, but we've watched enough baseball to know you get hit by a fastball in the hand.
Yep.
You're going to drop the bat or do something to indicate that you got hit. I didn't see a whole lot of that out of Jack Kinley.
Yeah, nobody's that tough.
Right.
Like, Kenley acted like, hey, check the ball. Is the ball okay?
Appears like it. That just kind of, it just, it made a weird sound. I think that's why everybody kind of paused for a sec, because that made a weird sound.
And I think that was Big R's glove getting knocked off, was that weird sound.
But
Kenley didn't sell it at all as a hit by pitch. I mean, he didn't even take his hands off the bat.
Well, Daryl Arnold, our home plate umpire, back there checking out the video. He should come around the corner any second now. And I'm going to say foul ball. And let's play baseball.
It is amazing. The arguments are so much less heated with review. That's one positive, isn't it? The coaches don't lose their minds anymore.
And listen, Dave Van Horn, we've seen over the years, he's apt to go out and have a few chats with umpires. He's not been around for a few games.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to lose your temper against video, right?
So 0-1 on Kinley, hitting in the 9-hole. You know, it says 87 on the gun, but it sure seems like it's coming in a little bit quicker.
Yeah,
than
the
that.
hitter's typical lefty. It feels like the ball jumps out of Kevin Smith's jersey, and it's just never in the same spot. His fastball is all over the strike zone. This may sound defeatist, Niels, but I would not run here if I was Dave Van Horn. Eric Cole leads off the next inning. Jack Kenley seems somewhat overmatched in this at-bat right now. I don't know that having him lead off the next inning is the right deal. I'd let him finish his at-bat.
Kenley 0 for 2 this afternoon.
And in all fairness to Jack Kenley, Kevin Smith is a handful for any left-handed hitter.
Sharply hit, but Georgia had him played perfectly. L.J. Talley scoops it to Shepard. Inning over. Arkansas leads 1. Dogs lead it by a run. Bottom of the 7th inning. Georgia and Arkansas tangled up in a good one here at Foley Field. 3-2 our score. Kevin Smith, though, has been putting on a show. Matter of fact, this isn't anything new. The last couple of weeks, he has been lights out.
And those are great outings against anybody. Florida and Arkansas are two of the best offenses in the country. So it's not just that he was dominant twice. He was dominant against elite teams.
All the hugs might indicate that he has wrapped it up for the day. 92 pitches, 65 strikes, 4 hits allowed, 11 strikeouts. We'll see if it is indeed the end of the day when we come back. Boy, Cook just took one right off the face mask. See the earpiece that catchers are wearing around the conference.
Ugh.
Jeez. Oh. He's already got a bad ankle.
That's one of those ones where you just wish there was one person you could be mad at, but you can't. It's just that's the game and the position.
So Campbell, the third pitcher used by Arkansas, facing Mitchell Webb, who's had a nice day at the plate. Couple of base hits. That one's out of play. 1-2 the count.
This is where it gets fun, Niels. Like, this is the postseason. You know, you're Georgia. You've got a 1-run lead. You need 6 outs. Can you get the 6 outs? Can you extend the lead? We got a good month of this coming up.
Georgia getting some arms ready to go. Just a pack, one of those guys. Tony Losi, he could bring it, huh?
Big arm. That's the part of this Georgia team that we didn't know about, which is why they were unheralded in the postseason or the preseason. Nobody knew this bullpen was going to be this good.
And you know, when they had to shelve Shunk, we didn't know anything about his.
Yep.
Could he be a guy at the back end? That's a strike. And Cook takes one for the team. Boy, he is wearing it today. That one got him. I don't know where that one got him, but you could hear it hit his skin somewhere. I mean,
it's insult to injury. He's going to put the earpiece back in. I wonder if Wes Johnson, the pitching coach, is talking to him saying, "How you feeling?" And Grant Cook saying, "How do you think I'm feeling? I just blocked my 42nd breaking ball today."
Right.
That's fairly harmless off of the chest protector, says the guy in the suit and tie.
I'll tell you what, after the game, I'll go out there, and I'm only throwing 50-55, but we'll get the gear on. I'll just start throwing them in the dirt, see how you handle it.
That's why.
That's a sight.
Yeah.
That is crisply hit. Did that go off the glove of Campbell? Did that go...
That did come off the bat quite strange, didn't it?
Second out of the inning.
Isaiah Campbell's throwing the ball well here. Campbell is 6'4", and he pitches like 6'4". Really nice downhill angle on that fastball.
C.J. Smith behind 0-2. The thought of you with the catcher's gear on right now.
Oh, I did that a little bit in college. Caught a little bit.
Did you pitch?
I conveniently missed as many of the blocking practices as possible. Pitched in American Legion. Probably should have pitched in college. I really think my ultimate calling would have been sidearm submarine reliever. I really think I could have been.
A specialized
a
pitcher.
Poor man's
Right.
Brad Ziegler.
I like that. The first guy I remember growing up that came, like straight sidearm was Gene Garber for me.
Gene Garber, yes. Harry Callis could say Gene Garber. Gene Garber.
That is a
Dan
foul ball.
Quisenberry. How about
Yeah.
Kenta Colby with the
Colby,
big
yeah.
goggles?
Garber, he broke up Pete Rose's hit streak, didn't he? I think it was Garber who did it.
Look at that. It's not just a ball game, Niels. It's a baseball education.
It is.
Here to serve.
Swing and a miss, C.J. Smith. Campbell could be a key component to this Arkansas run through the postseason. Looks good in his short stint so far. Top of the order coming up for the Hogs. Well, I certainly hope you can join us in Hoover in a couple of days for the SEC tournament. The SEC Now team will be there starting Tuesday with pre- and post-game shows for every game at the SEC baseball tournament. All the coverage you expect from the SEC network. It's also streaming live on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere you might be. Kevin Smith, what a day for him. He was sensational. 7 innings pitched, a career-high 11 strikeouts, 92 pitches for the day. And he turns it over to this guy, Tony Losi, who has got some electric stuff. 6'3", 237, just a sophomore out of Columbus, Georgia. 50 strikeouts and 44 1/3 innings of work.
Yeah, this is a big arm, big talent. He was a perfect game All-American out of high school. There's only 50 of those nationally, and it's because of the arm strength for Losi. This is a year where the pitchability has started to catch up with the arm strength. A lot more strikes this year.
Starts at 93.
Painted on the black away. Now it's up a little bit, but it's off the middle of the plate.
Top of the order now for Arkansas. Cole with 12 homers on the year, followed by Martin, who has 10. That one is shot out to second, fielded nicely by L.J. Talley, one down.
I'm telling you, Niels, this is the time of year where it gets fun. If you're Georgia, you need 6 outs. Now you need 5. So you got your relievers coming in. Is your stuff good enough to miss bats? Can you throw strikes with multiple pitches? And vice versa for the offense. Can you handle big stuff from a reliever? Can you two-strike approach? Can you execute on offense? All those things matter now.
So here's Casey Martin. And with this lineup, remember, they came in tied for first in the SEC in home runs. So you're always one swing away from tying this thing up if you're an Arkansas fan. Now it's 2-0.
I'm going to get ahead of myself right now, Niels. Georgia wins this game. They're a top 8 seed. There's just no doubt in my mind. Think about that. That means they're hosting a regional and a super regional if they advance.
Martin, base hit, back up the middle. Tucker Maxwell, who just checked in, will scoop it up in center field. And C.J. Smith, who started in center field, will slide over to right for Mitchell Webb. There is Tucker Maxwell.
And that's purely for defense. Those are defensive moves right there. Can you get the 5 outs? Feels like 50 outs at this point.
Luke Bonfield has a hit today, but had a big home run, a difference maker in Thursday night's game, game number 1 of this series. his 8th of the year. Well, that pitch looked good.
I got it up just a little bit.
Okay.
But I'll say for Losi, I mean, he has had breaking ball for a strike already. It's not like he doesn't have feel for that pitch. How about Casey Martin? 2 strikeouts to start the day, a little flare in the center field, and he just hits a rocket for a base hit.
Yes,
that's impressive.
That was crisply hit. No doubt.
Sure was. One thing I would say that comes into play now, Casey Martin, he's not a great base runner yet, but he's very, very fast. I think you can run on Losi. Not 3-0 though, you're not.
Losi pitched in that first game of the series. 1 inning, gave up 3 hits and 3 earned runs. Really an anomaly for him. It's one of those things, like if you're a pitcher, I'm sure you can't get back out there quick enough after an outing like that.
Now, I'll tell you, this is dangerous, though. The 3-0 is a clear take.
Right.
You know, if you're Luke Bonfield, you are ready to fire on fastball here. I would send Casey Martin on this pitch. Stay at a double play. You call it run and hit, where you tell the runner you don't have to have your very best jump. We're looking to stay out of a double play here.
It's going to be hard to stay out of a double play, even if he was on the run. There's some of that outstanding Georgia defense. They turn the double play, get out of that jam, and the Dogs lead it by 1 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Well, the Georgia Bulldogs, they've got it all working right now. Defensively, that was just a dynamite way to turn 2 in a dicey situation.
Yeah, Losi knows he was in a little bit of jeopardy right there. 3-1, had to give Bonfield the fastball he wanted, and he hit it on the nose. Crisply hit, as they say. But Shepard to tally for the double play. That was nice.
But you know what? In the 9th, you know, you're not out of trouble yet. You've got Kerstead, Shaddy, and Cook. All guys that are super dangerous at the plate coming up for Arkansas. But we head to the bottom of the 8th. And Aaron Shunk will lead things off for the Bulldogs.
Aaron Shunk's, a big part of his Player of the Year candidacy, besides hitting and pitching, is his walk-up song is Brass Monkey by the Beastie Boys. Super strong, Niels. It's got to be considered, doesn't it?
For a guy his age to come up with Beastie Boys stuff is impressive.
Mad respect.
Yeah.
I'm throwing it at him.
Shunk fouls that straight back. 22-game hit streak. 3 homers, 36 runs batted in. He did strike out his last time up. Isaiah Campbell, the 3rd Arkansas pitcher. That one's out of play. He's ahead 0-2.
I tell you, if you're Dave Van Horn, regardless of the outcome of this game, this Isaiah Campbell outing is super encouraging. I mean, he looks great. Fastball's got angle. Coming out of his hand, great. Breaking ball for a strike. He has looked really good.
It's a weird situation what happened to him last week. He had pitched and everything was fine. He woke up in the morning and his foot had just gotten really swollen. Took him to the doctor. They couldn't really find anything, and it was almost like, did he get bit by something? And they came here on the road to Athens, and he was on crutches. And with each day, the swelling has gone down, and apparently today, I mean, we didn't think we'd see him. We thought there was a chance he might start today, but they put that the kibosh on that. And apparently he went down the bullpen, felt good, and here he is.
Kind of like you and me, Niels. You wake up, you never know what's going to be hurting. I mean, it's just like every day is a new surprise.
New pain, exactly.
Yeah, love it.
Some call surprise, some call it pain. That ball's out to right. And Cole there to make the catch. Now Keegan McGovern will come in. McGovern with his 15th home run of the year earlier this game. And this is what it looked like.
Absolutely camping out on that first pitch breaking ball from Cole Ramage. And there was no question about that home run.
Talk to me about his swing a little bit. It's different than most three-hole hitters you would see, guys that hit for power.
It's very simple. I mean, it's a simple setup. There's not a lot of wild action to it.
Ground ball out to Shaddy, makes the play, 2 down.
I would say the biggest difference maker for McGovern, though, Niels, he's never looked so good. I mean, he spent a lot of time in the offseason not losing weight, but changing the weight. And, you know, he's always been big and physical, but now he's a lot leaner, and it has really translated to good play.
They consider him one of those, quote, gym rats. He is always working and tinkering, trying to get himself better each and every day. Here's Michael Curry. First pitch in there for a strike. Curry also went yard in the 6th inning. Matter of fact, this is the first time since Georgia has had multiple players with 10-plus home runs in the same season since 2009. That's when Georgia had a school record 109 home runs. And it was shortly thereafter they changed the bats. There is Webb getting loose for the...
Yeah, Heston Kjerstad leads off next inning. I think that'd be a great matchup for Georgia, left on left.
There's a strike, 1-2 now.
Painting with his fastball, 92 miles an hour. Isaiah Campbell checking every box. Really looks good.
Boy, came back off speed, 82 miles an hour.
You know, somebody is going to be in the NCAA tournament and draw Arkansas, and they were hoping that, oh, man, at least they don't have Campbell. They're going to see this out and be like, okay, that's not good. Best offense in the country, or one of, and their rotation looks spectacular at this point.
Lifted in the air, out to left, and that will drop in for a base hit. That's the second hit of the day for Curry. You know, we come with some Brass Monkey, right? Beastie Boys, and now we come with some Billy Squier for Sasser.
And everybody's on it, too, by the way. Love that. Yeah, the walk-up song game for Georgia is top 8 material.
No question.
Put that on the blind resume.
We could get one of them to come up to a little Rush, maybe a little Limelight. Something like that would be great. If I could convince somebody to do that, they win. They win.
Tom Sawyer, is
Tom Sawyer's great. Any Rush, pick one. Everybody's got a suggestion.
I would say for Aaron Schunk, you know, he's a two-way player, so when he goes to the mound and warms up, his song is Def Leppard's Pour Some Sugar on Me, which is also an outstanding selection. Plus, plus, as they say in the scouting community. Wow.
Big swing and a miss, 1 and 2. The discrepancy between his fastball and off-speed stuff, I mean, there's 15 miles an hour difference.
Yep. And the fastball, remember, he's 6'4". He's got a very high release point, so your eyes are up there, and that breaking ball's got that tremendous vertical break.
Boy, and that one short hops. Another one off of Cook behind the plate. Now goes a wild pitch.
Yeah, that's way. I would say that's not Grant Cook's best block of the day, but if anybody has earned a pass, Niels, it is Grant Cook. He has been really busy back there. You know, if I'm really picking at Grant Cook, though, now you got to run in scoring position in a one-run game.
2-2 count on Sasser. 0 for 2 with a walk. Just off the plate, it's filled up.
That's a real thing for catchers, though, Niels. I mean, the fatigue of just blocking a bunch of balls in Game 3 of a series. That's a lot. Base open. I'm pitching backwards here. Something, breaking ball, probably bottom of the zone.
There it was.
Change
Foul
up.
back.
Boy, he got Isaiah Campbell a little fortunate there. That changeup just stayed up. For me, this has got to be whatever swing and miss pitch you have if you're Isaiah Campbell, because a single makes this 4-2, and that's a problem. So whether it's fastball in, fastball up, or that breaking ball, but you gotta bury it. It's got to be out of the strike zone. First base is open. That's your friend right here.
Swing and a miss. Sasser chased it in the dirt. Cook stays with it, throws him out, and we head to the 9th. A big 9th inning coming up for Arkansas. Kerstad, Shaddy, Cook, 4, 5, and 6. Do they have enough for the tank? Boy, a great way to wrap up the regular season. Two outstanding teams in a 3-2 ball game heading to the 9th inning. The story for me in this one has been Kevin Smith.
Yes.
The guy that was a starter. They sent him to the bullpen when things weren't going well. They brought him back out in the rotation in the last couple of weeks. 7 innings pitched and a career-high 11 strikeouts.
Scott Strickland said Kevin Smith's been our MVP because of just his attitude with the different adjustments. And, boy, in a day that they really need this for the top 8 seed, this is a big deal. And now he's going to give way to a freshman, someone who he flipped with in the rotation. Ryan Webb was the Sunday starter for Georgia for a good part of this season. Very talented freshman, big left-handed arm. You can see the walks have been a problem at times, but it's not going to be short on aggressiveness or velocity. This is a really good competitor and a fastball that will probably be in the low 90s in a relief role.
So there's Patrick Sullivan over at first base, taking over for Adam Sasser. Kerstad, 0 for 3. Numbers tell you he would definitely be due. He came in with a .350 average. First pitch, fouled back.
Isn't that awesome? That's big on big right there. Two of the special young talents in this league. And that's where Arkansas is so tough. You're up 1, you need 3 outs, but you got to contend with Kerstad, Shaddy, Cook, and Fletcher. That's your hands full right there.
Tops of the SEC in batting average. That ball is in the gap in right center. It's going to drop. Scooped up there by Maxwell. Here's the throw to second off the line. So a leadoff double off the bat of Kerstad. His 14th double of the year.
This is big boy baseball right here. And Webb, his fastball is middle in. And that's just too good of a location for a hitter as talented as Kerstad. And you nailed it, Niels. It was just a matter of time before that kid was getting a knock.
And it looks like Kerstad broke his belt in the process. Now, I break my belt for different reasons.
Look at Nate Thompson, the third base coach. Now, that's being a team player right there. It's also the fact that Nate Thompson is in incredible physical condition. So who needs a belt when you're built like that? Showing us up.
I know exactly how he feels.
There we go. Oh, Kerstad doesn't want it. Look at this. Getting that belt through those belt loops, by the way, in baseball pants, it's no easy task, and that's why Kerstad just punted it. He's like, I'm going to go without the belt.
So Webb will work to Carson Shaddy. Back-to-back strikeouts for Shaddy. He did have a double earlier in the game. Back in the second inning, came in to score one of the 2 runs for the Hogs.
Boy, Ryan Webb's got to really dial something up here. Carson Shaddy is locked in and capable of handling a lot of different pitches. That's a good pitch, little slider right there. That's the thing, Niels. You come into a game like this, it's not good enough to just go fastball down the middle. You got to be able to execute something really good. A fastball on the black in or out, a slider.
Oh, and 2.
I don't know, Niels. That's pretty far in there, isn't it?
Shaddy certainly thought so.
Shaddy's thinking, I'm the fifth-year senior. He's the freshman, in case you missed the memo.
Oh, and that one is up over his head, and Bigar couldn't find it. He thought he had it in the mitt and it slipped out. That was absolutely bizarre. He had it in his glove, and it just fell out and he couldn't find it.
Boy, that's huge. They're trying to go up. You can see Big R is up in his stance. Looked like did it get trapped in his mask possibly? Now you got to go infield in.
Almost got away from him again. Wow.
Bigard got his hands full right there. That's an explosive fastball from Webb. If you're cursed at third base, your job is to see a ground ball through. If it's a severe chopper, you might attack it and try and score, but with nobody out, see a ground ball through to the outfield.
That was a crazy at-bat. But Webb gets the strikeout of Shaddy.
Fastball up. We see it more and more in baseball in general. Pitchers going above the strike zone with their fastball. That is perfectly executed. I got to say, Niels, how was that moment not too big for Ryan Webb facing a Carson Shaddy? That's super impressive.
Well, specifically when you consider the 2 pitches before that.
No doubt.
Grant Cook now. Couple of hits today, a single, a double, has an RBI, but did strike out his last time. Tying run, 90 feet away.
I don't think I like any type of squeeze here because Webb has sprayed the ball around so much. But if you're Grant Cook, you want to be ready to fire early. Oh, there we go. Left-handers and intentional walks. Niels, I'm just... Fasten your seatbelt.
Dominic Fletcher waits his turn. I keep thinking of Austin Anderson of Ole Miss a few years back. Steps out, hits what was supposed to be an intentional walk, steps out and hammers a home run over the right field fence in Oxford for a walk-off winner on an intentional walk.
Kelly Leak style.
It's Kelly Leak, Bad News Bears style, right?
That's it.
I don't know that Austin had the motorcycle, though,
no.
The cigarette going on now. So here's Dominic Fletcher. See how Georgia plays this.
He's only grounded into 1 double play. He is a center fielder. He can run, Fletcher.
So there will be a pinch runner for Arkansas as Cook's got a bad wheel, and it will be Jax Biggers.
So if you're Dave Van Horn, you're saying to yourself, how do I stay out of a double play and get this third run in? I'll tell you one option is a squeeze. And Dominic Fletcher can handle the bat.
So if you're Georgia, defensively, how do you play? I mean, do you play back and try to get the double play? Because you're talking about a bunt. You're going to play in the corners?
Corners will be up,
yeah.
So corners will be instructed, hold the runner and get an out. The middle infielders will be instructed, double play depth. If a ball is very sharply hit at you, turn 2, but know that Fletcher's a good runner, so if it's medium speed or less, attack the ground ball and come to the dish. So that's what the middle infielders will have a lot on their plate here. A medium to soft ground ball, attack it, and you got to go 4. A hard hit ground ball, turn it up.
So also with the runner at third, fly ball in the outfield, are we, relatively speaking, if it's a medium fly ball, are we going to second base with it, or are we going to try to make a play at home?
I would go to second base with it. Yep, you're coming up and
try to avoid a big inning.
Yep, and you know, for Webb pitching to Fletcher, he's got to hit a left-handed breaking ball for me. He may get a fastball late in the count, but he's got to handle my best breaking ball right here.
First pitch lifted in the air. That's in shallow left. McGovern on the run. They will send the runner. Here's the throw home. Got him at the plate. That is your ball game. What a play. Georgia wins the series. It had to be a great throw from McGovern to get him, and he made a great throw.
And, you know, Dominic Fletcher had the right idea. Get a ball to the outfield. Keegan McGovern, can you impact your team any more than what you did right here? This was going to be an incredibly difficult throw. Gets it there in the air. Kerstad, a very good athlete. I'll tell you, not an easy play for Big R either. What a perfect end to a great SEC series.
Watch how Big R holds on to this baseball with his bare hand.
And he had to pick that.
Bang, bang play at the plate. Georgia celebrated yesterday with a walk-off in the 10th. They celebrate today with a semi-walk-off. Throw from left from McGovern to Big R. They nail Kerstad, and that's your ball game, 3-2. What a ball game. What a Sunday, or I should say Saturday, series finale between these two highly ranked teams.